Good day, friends. Thank you very much for all the questions which you keep on sending via my WhatsApp number. I will mention the number at the end of this video, and please do send your questions at that number. Today I want to handle another question which many of you have asked, and the question is, God created the sun after he created plants and trees. So how could plants and trees have survived? Actually, the answer is known to most people who have a background in biology, but somehow Muslims and atheists keep on hammering this question in such a manner, slogan type manner, that believers fall into that trap. Today I would like to tell you the scientific answer, biblical and scientific answer to that question. And the answer is very simple. Genesis 1:3 says, and God commanded that there be light, and there was light. So before creation, God created light, or in the first stage of creation, God created light. Immediately, the skeptics would like to ask, from where did light come when there was no sun? Please remember, people who go and lie down at the bottom of the seas in a submarine do not have sun. But do they have light? Yes. So that shows that sun is not the only source of light. Man is able to create light. And if man is able to create light, the Creator God is able to create light much more efficiently, because he is the all-powerful creator. So where did light come from when there was no sun is a deliberately asked question, because they have to ask something against God. Then they ask, why God did not create the sun first? And the answer is, that's God's will. Who are you to ask? Is God going to create according to your will and plan? Puny man. But there is a second answer to that. Any person who works on a massive project makes special arrangements for the first steps. Whether he is an artist, technician, engineer, or anything. For example, when a dam is made, the river water which is going to be dammed is first diverted. And after diverting, then only the dam is made. And once the dam is made, water is allowed to flow its normal path and course. So any massive project, the person who plans the project has to do a few initial things so that the project is a success. In the same way, God created light first, and he created sun later, according to his blueprint and his plan. We are nobody to question him. Just as an engineer knows his task best, God knows his plan and his task best. God, who created the universe with a command, can easily create light, with source or without source. The problem is, most of us are under heavy influence of atheists and Muslims who attack the Bible at this point. We forget that they are not inquirers. They are simple debaters. They want to keep on debating. I have answered this question many times. I said, for example, to one Muslim debater, I said, well, light was already there, so the plants had no problem. No, God created the plants to survive in sunlight, and therefore without sun they could not have survived. See, he has to say something against it, and that is why he say, I asked him, do you know about plants which are grown in artificial light? He suddenly realized that he was trapped, and he said, no, let me read that, let me read this, let me read that. Please remember, these are dishonest people. They don't want answers. They just want to keep on attacking the Bible. And there are a lot of people in the Christian faith who love arguing these people, not to establish that they are wrong, but rather to support them. You may ask why? Because there are plenty of Christians who want the Bible to be wrong. You may ask, are you real? Yes, I'm real. There are many Christians who are rebels deep in their hearts, who are grabbed by very serious sins, trapped by very serious sins, and they would love to prove that Bible is wrong. They behave like Christian apologists, but their ultimate aim is to prove that the Muslim is right, that the atheist is right. That is why these people keep on debating and never come to an end. The scripture says that we have to, when they argue, we have to counterattack, we have to counter them. Many of us, instead of countering, we just multiply words. So those of you who are listening to me, who are deeply committed, I want to remind you, don't multiply words. Give straight answer the way a surgeon cuts through a tumor and isolates the tumor and sends it away to wherever it goes. In the same way, counter the argument directly, efficiently, like the scalpel of a surgeon. Where do you stand, my friend? Okay, now let us go. Let's look at the question. Biblically, I answered your question. Biblically speaking, God had created light, and just as an engineer does something special in the beginning, God did something in the beginning. Some ask, where did the light come from? God doesn't need any source. The creator of the universe can produce light even without a source. Then let us go to another, and that is there any scientific evidence that plants can survive for 24 hours without sunlight? And the answer is yes. There are plenty of evidences that plants can survive easily without sun for not only 24 hours, but 24 days and even 24 months. Now, this answer is known to specialists in biology, and therefore they don't bother to experiment. Still, we have data. Though it doesn't bother them, still many of them have done experiments, and we have data. And let me mention some of them. Polar microalgae and phytoplankton can live months or even years without sunlight. Antarctic phytoplankton can survive 6 to 10 months in darkness. Arctic diatoms can survive from 7 to 8 months in darkness. Dormant spores and cysts, plant spores and cysts can survive for decades to centuries. Dinoflagellate cysts, which were buried in Norway for over 100 years in darkness, survived, and they gave result. Freshwater algal spores also survive, and they have been shown to survive for up to 16 to 17 years. You may say, these are very tiny stuff. What about the larger ones? I am coming to the larger ones. There are many vascular plants which survive from weeks to months. Castan plant survives from 4 to 6 weeks of total and absolute darkness. Snake plants survive 2 to 3 months in darkness. You may say, can you show something that is larger than this? Yes. There are deciduous trees which survive from 6 to 8 months without light. Fitzroy is shown to have survived for 5,000 years without light. Broomrape has been shown to survive for decades without light. You may say, oh, all of these are scientific names. Yes, they are scientific names. I cannot help it. But there is one that I want to mention which has a common name. See, many of these plants and trees don't have common names, so I'm helpless. But oak, you have all heard about oak trees. Oak trees can survive from 60 to 90 days without sunlight. So all this objection that for 24 hours they could not have survived without sunlight is a lot of humbug, a lot of brainwashing, a lot of slogan. As I said, God had already made light and the light was there, but even if that light is not there, they could have survived. I mentioned greenhouses. Greenhouses produce millions upon millions of pieces of vegetable using just artificial light. So see, the argument of the Muslim was that no, God made them to survive only in sunlight. If God made them to survive only in sunlight, then how about the people who raise millions of pieces of vegetable in greenhouses, artificial light? It's all humbug. They just want to argue one way or other. They are just multiplying words. They are not inquirers. Please keep this in mind. And once again, some people ask, how could God have made light? God made the entire universe with a command, isn't it? So is it difficult for him to make a little light with source or without source? Friends, all this sun after vegetation is just an artificially contrived argument. Not because they want to know the truth, but because they want to fight the truth, and they know that if they ask this question, a lot of people will be confused. Please remember, Muslims and atheists use a particular technique, and all of you should be aware of this technique. This is used in judo. When an opponent rushes at you, you use his momentum and pull it in the same direction. He falls not because you are strong, he falls because his momentum carries him into a fall. In the same way, there are many among us who are ignorant, many among us who are sitting on the fence. We somehow or other want the Bible to be full of error. We want the Bible to lose its authority. Inerrancy and infallibility is anathema to many Christians. It is such Christians who lend so much weight to this question. Actually, those who have a biology background already know that this question has no weight. They already know that plants can easily survive in dark, and 24 hours is nothing. And if they have read the Bible, they know that it was not dark. Even before creation of sun, God had created light. That is the answer. Sorry, my dear friends. Please keep your questions coming. We will answer them. We will answer science with science. science questions with science, not with mere lectures. But one request. It takes a long time to search for scientific data and then prepare these scientific lectures. You can reward us in two ways. One, by sharing these videos to maximum number of people so that they are strengthened in their faith. Second, you can encourage us by subscribing. Each subscriber is an encouragement to us. Please remember, YouTube has a new protocol for subscribing. You have to subscribe, you have to press the subscribe button first. You have to press the bell icon, and then you have to select all. Then only is subscription complete. Please do that. And yes, please send your questions to me. Here is my number, 751 019 8690. 751 019 8690. Please remember, this is a WhatsApp number. Your message comes to the computer, not to my mobile. Don't try to call me. If you simply would like to call and argue endlessly, there are lot of people who themselves want to argue. Please get in touch with such people. I will not be available for argument. I am available only for answering your questions. God bless you.